right, here we go. I let the saw warm up a little bit, so it should start right up. Pull these wedges back out here. We don't need them. I just did that while I was warming it up. And let's see how this goes. first cut done on the edge, and yeah, everything did loosen up a little bit. It'll do that. Plus I had some blocks on the other end to keep it from wanting to twist on me. So we'll get that saw back off of here again. We'll get the ladder off. We're gonna take a look at this. That'll at least give me an idea maybe of what the rest of the tree is gonna look like. All right, as you see here, there is a lot of spalting in there, which was to be expected, because from the looks of it, this thing's been sitting down in my lower end for a couple of years at least, probably. And there have been several times it's flooded down there, so I expected to see some in there. For the most part, it seems pretty solid, though. I don't see any place where it's really, really soft, except for up here at the very end. But again, to be expected. We'll throw a little bit of water on here, make it really kind of pop out, see what happens. So let's get that water up here. See what it looks like. All right, there we go. Oh, that looks nice, you know. That is gonna look really good on something, for sure. Maybe that'll be my new bar top piece. I don't know. But let's get this thing turned, and we'll start making the next cuts. All right, here we go. We're gonna lift this thing up and get it turned. I have the chain set up, and what we do is we have gone down this side, come around, and brought the hook to this side. And I had to go around it twice because my chain was just a little too long. So what we're gonna do is lift, and it'll start to turn this as it goes, and it'll pull it back at the same time. And hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, and it doesn't usually around here, it'll pick it up, and when we set it back down, it'll finish turning the rest of the way, and then we can just adjust it by hand. So here we go. Here was that shimmying thing I was telling you about. We can just keep moving the chain around until we get it where we want it. Tell you what, we'll take a closer look at the rigging here. Yeah. So you can see exactly what happened. Found it out of my little fancy holder here. There, I like my little fancy holder. Single stick with a bungee. All right, here we go. Now, if you look, we have a slip hook. That's really supposed to be doing most of the work. And if you notice, it came around from the high side and went around to the low side on the side that we wanted up. That seems to give the best pull. And then you just got to kind of play with it to get what you're looking for and to get the right angle that you want. So I'll finish getting this rigging off and get the ladder back up here again. And this is already a pretty flat surface, so we won't have to do too much with that. So we'll get our first board out pretty quick. I'll be right back with you. All right. I made a command decision. We're not going to shim that up. It's going to be too much of a difference for one thing. I think there's going to be some decent character in the log anyhow. And with pretty much just a crotch section on both ends, it's kind of funky anyway. So we're just going to do it. And I'm sure we're going to come out with something nice. We're going to start the saw. We're going to get milling. I have the ladder up. It's strapped down. I didn't need to shim anything to brace it up because it already had a nice flat surface on it anyway. Normally you would have to knock off the bark side again. So you'd want to set your depth differently and then come back and fix it again for your board thickness. But for this particular log, we didn't have to do that. Thanks to somebody else milling a little bit off for me. I'm not sure what they were thinking, but the old property owner said nothing about it. So here we go. complete cut. We're gonna get all the stuff off of there and see what's underneath. It'll be as much a surprise to you as it is to me. All right, let's see what we got. See, we have some little critters down here at this end. Some termites digging into it. Thankfully, I don't dry these at home, up at the house anyway. I just keep everything down here until I'm ready for it. So, not too worried about them. They'll be gone. Come winter time, they won't stick around long. Not that I have this big heavy load to hide out in. But we have some really nice looking stuff in here. Actually, in the middle, there's not a lot of water at all. It's looking pretty good. Throw some water on there for you. See what happens when she shines up. Hidden treasure, right there. All right, I'm gonna time lapse a few more for you, and then we'll come back and wrap this up. At least for you guys, anyway. I got a couple more hours worth of work to get this one all wrapped up. But I said we're back over there again where it was, and see what it looks like coming out. Man, I hate those things. All right, so anyway, it's not hard to do. It does take a little physical effort and some time, but it's not terrible. You're gonna go through some gas. I get about 2 boards per tank of gas out of there, which is what I did show you in the time lapse, was a 1 full tank of gas, and the total time it takes between setting up and tearing down and setting up for the next one. Some key things to kind of help you along a little bit if you're going to use one of these type of chainsaw mills is let the mill itself do the work of carrying the saw. The only thing you need to do, especially if you're using a ladder, makes it much easier because it's a completely flat aluminum surface on a completely flat aluminum surface, is watch your far end especially to make sure it's not lifting off the ladder. That'll tell you you're putting too much pressure on the trigger hand, and you'll need to let up on that or even lift a little bit depending on your saw and the weight distribution between the bar and the motor. I am using one of the Walmart Chinese clone G660s. Like I said before, I decided I was going to start off as cheap as I could, just to see if it was something I wanted to continue doing, because I actually do have family members that own sawmills. I could easily take these down there and let them do it, but I like doing things on my own. So it was a good cheap way to start. The saw's been running real hard. It's been running real well. I haven't had any issues with it yet, and when I do, supposedly they tell me the steel 660 parts will fit right on it. So we might just rebuild it as a steel later on, and I'll have probably just as much money wrapped up in it. It just gave me that safety cushion to start off. So anyway, that's pretty much the gist of it. Looks like we're going to get some real nice boards. I still haven't hit any rot except for the very ends. So this is going to be a big win for me also. We've gotten very lucky in the past with things like that. So if you look over here in this far corner, see if I can get my finger in the right place, you'll see this big tarped area. That's my drying rack in there. When you go to store this stuff, it's going to need to dry for at least a year. And these boards are really wide, but since they're an inch thick, these are 19-inch wide boards. That's money right there. And I'm not very good with species, so when I figure out what that is, I'll say something. If any of you guys happen to know what it is, let me know. Put it in the comments section. But you should put at least some sticks in there, at least 1/4 inch. I prefer like 3/8 or so to let air through. And when you tarp it, you don't want to tarp it tight because you want air to get up the sides and get through all the boards. I actually have some sheet metal up there, some corrugated steel up there that's longer than the drying rack is wide, just to keep the sides open so air can get up through and dry it all out. It will still take some time. But it's down here, it's away from the house, so like all those termites that were in there, I don't have to worry about them getting up to the house anyway. Later on I might build a solar kiln in the backyard here, and when I do, maybe we'll make a video of that. So anyway, that's the gist of it. Just remember safety, think ahead, think about what you're doing, think about the consequences with that, you know. If you're not wearing hear protection later on, your grandkids are gonna have to yell at you to say hi, Grandpa. We don't want that. The chains are sharp, the motor's got a lot of power. Anytime you use a chainsaw, you want to keep that in mind. That chain can kick pretty quick. Having the chain brakes on is a good idea. I have 2 of my saws that don't have them on. They broke, and I just never really replaced them, but we use them with extreme caution. Always weigh out your consequences and your benefits. If the benefit to risk ratio is imbalanced the wrong way, don't do what you're doing. So otherwise, be safe, enjoy, have fun cutting some wood. Thanks for watching.